fantastic that you have chosen to come here to Nuneaton to hold your event this morning. I'm always delighted to support Krishna. Krishna is a good friend. He's one of my constituents here in Nuneaton, and we work very closely together on all sorts of different things. And when she asked me to come along this morning, without hesitation, I was quite happy to come along and spend some time with you here. I can't be here right until the end today, but I will be here all morning and I'll be here for lunch, and I do hope during that time that it will enable me to get a better understanding of the situation in Kashmir, and a better understanding of what happened in those terrible days 30 years ago. Just before I say a little more on that, here in Nuneaton we are a place with a proud and long heritage. Where you sit here today is part of something called the Armoury Estate, and this is where 200 years ago the author George Eliot was actually born, just a few hundred yards across there, and she grew up. So it's quite a historic part of Nuneaton. Nuneaton is a place that has a proud history in industry. There was a huge coal mining industry here at one time, and there's also been a significant manufacturing past, and manufacturing is still very much part of our area. One of the biggest employers in our area, even though they are not situated here, where thousands of people work still for them, is Jaguar Land Rover, a company that I'm quite proud, and often people say, well, the company's not British owned and so on and so forth, but I'm very proud of the way that Tata took on Jaguar Land Rover 10 years ago, when the company, quite frankly, was on its knees and facing possible extinction, and the things that have happened since, with the government working with Tata, and Tata working with their workforce and the trade unions, they have done a phenomenal job, and thousands of my constituents either now work for Jaguar Land Rover, which has been extremely successful in the last decade, or they work for companies that supply Jaguar Land Rover. So I'm delighted that we have those links between the Tata Company of India and such a major local manufacturing powerhouse like Jaguar Land Rover, which has enabled the West Midlands area to become a significant player in terms of global exports. And this is one of the only parts of this country, for example, that has got a positive balance of trade with China, which is a significant achievement. So it is lovely to welcome you to this part of the world. I know some of you are from the West Midlands area, but many of you are not from this area. Clearly, when people normally quite often ask me to come along to commemorate a special anniversary, it is an anniversary where people are celebrating. This is clearly free and able to debate what they think is the right solution, and I think there is nothing wrong with that. I think it's very, very important that that freedom, that democracy prevails, and I'm just hoping that we can play a small part in terms of trying to promote that in Kashmir and in other places in the world. So it is a sombre occasion. It's a very difficult thing, I'm sure, for many people in this room. I've already spoken to somebody who was in that area in 1990 and saw what was going on as a very young person then. In 1990, I look a bit older than this, but in 1990 I was 15, and I had quite a stable upbringing. My family were able to live and believe in what they wanted to believe in or not, and were not oppressed in any way whatsoever. And for me to think the situation would have been different, and we would have been sort of had a knock on our door at the middle of the night and told that we got to go somewhere else. That's just incomprehensible, to be honest. So that's the gravity of the situation that we're discussing today, and I just would like to say to you all that I hope from today we can all continue to get a better understanding of the issue, and what you are debating ultimately will go in a very small way, we would all acknowledge, but go some way to trying to help the situation as it is today, and make sure that we learn from the past, don't necessarily live in it, but try and move on to a positive future. So thank you so much for coming here to Nuneaton today. It is a real honour and a pleasure for me to be here, and I'm looking forward to hearing more, learning more, and informing my work that I do down in Parliament, and the discussions I have with colleagues of mine that are in the government in positions where they are dealing with foreign affairs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. I would like to, on behalf of
KPCS,
Kashmiri Pandit Cultural Society, present to you this
Thank you.
book which chronicles the exodus and the real testimonies and stories of our community. There are about 15 stories written by real life stories of the exodus and how it has affected our community. So please do have a read.
Thank you. Thank you
It's a
so
pleasure
much.
to give you a copy of this. This is the second edition. There was a first edition as well. Now this is the second edition which has come out.
Thank you.
But which is, I think, much more improved. And I
Yes.
hope you will
That's-
be able to understand
Yes.
the pain that all have to suffer and endure.
Of course. Well, thank you.
And
So
thank you
much.
very much for supporting us in this
It's a
and
pleasure.
understanding us, our struggle. So we move on. I'm going to next invite Mrs. Krishna Bhan. Krishna ji is no stranger to us. She is perhaps in this country for almost more than 20 years now. I've always, from the first day I landed in this country, I've known Krishna ji for all the yeoman's work that she has done. Indefatigable, I think is the word. So much, full of energy and full of enthusiasm and commitment for the community, I think would be the words that clearly describe her passion and her love for the Kashmiri Hindu community. She's an icon in United Kingdoms, I would say, and one of the very important community members. So Krishna ji, just a little bit of a personal profile for the records. Krishna Bhan ji is the president of Indo-European Kashmir Forum and the former president of the Kashmiri Pandit Association of Europe. She's also the director of Education and Kashmiri Hindu Matters for the Hindu Council of UK. Krishna ji works closely with major Hindu organizations on the issues related to Kashmiri Hindus. So, without further ado, I'm going to invite Krishna ji to come and speak a few words on the commemoration. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you. Well, anyway, a very warm welcome to all of you. Particularly, we have a special guest. You are all special to us, but we have a particular guest who has traveled thousands of miles to be here today. Shri Sushil Pandit ji, please, a very, very warm welcome. I deliberately didn't keep many speakers today for this occasion. We usually have 9 or 10 speakers most of our time listening to him, and if you have any questions You will have an opportunity after lunch to have a discussion with him. So today is actually, this whole day is devoted to Sushil Panditji. And of course, we have two important guests here as well, Dr. Aman Puri and Marcus Jones. So we're delighted to give a special welcome. Now, I'm not going to, we have here very important speakers to give their thoughts on today, but today is a very kind of special, and it's a global day for Kashmiri. These Kashmiri Hindus were displaced from their homeland 30 years ago. It will be 30 years tomorrow. And we have here among us somebody, well actually not somebody, but some people here. There are 2 or 3 people who have gone through that trauma of that night. And later on, we will hear them give their thoughts and give their experiences. What happened in the valley of Jammu and Kashmir 30 years ago. We will hear them because they have personal experience of going through that trauma. So they will have an opportunity to speak about their experience. But as Marcus has already mentioned, it's 30 years tomorrow. We were given 24 hours notice to leave our homes. We were given 3 choices: leave, die, or convert. But most of our community chose to leave just for their survival. And this day, 30 years ago, is now globally commemorated
from their homeland.
Much. Namaste to you, Honorable Marcus Jones, who's graced this occasion, and we are grateful. Thank you so much, Krishnaji, for taking the effort to organize this. Your services to the community are well known to everyone, and it's been decades of continuous hard work. Chandan, we thank you so much for this generous introduction. Vidhari ji, thank you. Lakshmi, where are you?
She was here.
Thank you. Dr. Puri, thank you so much for coming over. It's an honor, and it's a painful occasion to commemorate 3 decades. But since I was here, I would like to go back 36 years instead of 30 years. It will soon be 36 years. On 6th of February, an Indian diplomat, Ravindra Hareshwar Mahatre, was first abducted and then killed in Birmingham. He was abducted to seek the release of Maqbool Bhatt, a terrorist in Indian jails. Obviously, Ms. Gandhi wouldn't have released him. So, poor Ravindra Mahatre, all of 46 years, was killed and his body thrown. I was then a student in Delhi University, and I remember going to Pakistani High Commission and protesting that killing. In fact, we used to go there every day because between there was a gap of few days, 4 to 5 days at least, when they kept demanding the release. And I vividly recall how each day we would give memoranda, each day we would demonstrate and police would disperse us. So Kashmir has a connection with Midlands that goes even 6 years further back than our exodus. And it isn't as if terror suddenly broke loose 30 years ago. Its antecedents, its roots go back. much earlier. And his organization, JKLF, Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, that abducted the Indian diplomat and murdered, works in this country. You would be surprised to know, before the elections, recent elections, they actually put out a formal appeal to vote Labour. It was a communal appeal. It was aimed at a certain religious identity. So British politics is also as much impacted, intertwined, or sought to be impacted. And I would like, through your good offices, the establishment to take note of the fact that how this self-confessed terror organization with a huge history of terror continues to operate here. Because 30 years ago it was JKLF that initiated the pogrom. It was the JKLF head of India, Yasin Malik, who is still living, who personally murdered dozens of people, and his cohorts committed massacres, murders most foul, of defenseless people, unarmed women and children, non-combatants, old men, retired judges, bureaucrats, scholars. That people had to leave homes in search of education and jobs. So it isn't as if we were not coming out of Kashmir, leaving our homes before 1990. My father's generation had to leave, despite merit, would not get admissions in the professional colleges. A lot of people who worked there were discriminated against. Their students who had done PhD.
1986, when communal rights were triggered by a political party in the southern district of Anantnag in Kashmir, resulting in wanton destruction of many Hindu temples, and nearly 300 homes of Pandits were burned down. The agitating political party got its wish and the state government fell, yet no one in the government, either in Srinagar or in New Delhi, pursued an investigation of how and why Pandits were targeted as a punching bag for political expediency. In fact, I wrote to the New York Times at that time and received the following response from Stephen Wiseman, the New York Times bureau chief in New Delhi. In a letter dated 15 April 1986, he wrote to me that I have written a couple of stories about Hindu-Muslim problem in Kashmir. As you know, protested Muslims attacked temples, homes, and stores of Kashmiri Pandits. In fact, I have that letter right in front of me from 1986. So you can understand the tensions were building right many years even before the fateful day in 1990. By 1986, Kashmir was changing as a whole, and disclosed by one of the founders of a terrorist organization called Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front. The assassination of two prominent Pandits in 1989, one a political leader and the other a retired judge, that gave the minority community a sense that their homeland was not a safe place anymore. The insurgency in the valley turned up a few notches with the kidnapping of the daughter of a local politician who was then serving as the Union Home Minister in New Delhi on 8th December 1989. JKLF terrorists demanding the release of 5 of their imprisoned cohorts, and when the government capitulated and released the jail judges 5 days later, Kashmir was ablaze with Islamic fervor and jihadi slogans. Certainly, posters started appearing on streets with threatening messages to all Kashmiris. One such poster screamed, "If you have to live in Kashmir, you must abide Sharia law." This is a translation of an actual poster in Urdu. Others were more explicit. These demanded anyone living in Kashmir to harshly follow Islamic rules, dress code, were painted green as a sign of Islamist rule. JKLF divided Kashmir into geographical zone and assigned zonal commanders to administer diktats of the insurgents. Kalashnikov wielding terrorists started collecting jizya, the protection money, from Pandit business families and forced people to reset their wristwatches to Pakistan Standard Time. The state security personnel were nowhere to be seen. The state government, then led by Dr. Farooq Abdullah, was paralyzed and non-existent. Not only did the menacing posters stay put, but gangs of armed men roamed around Srinagar and other big towns, shedding and in some cases burning alcohol shops, cinema halls, beauty parlors, and selective shops owned by Hindus. Most of the minority population dreaded going out on the streets and were living in a life of fear and shock. Daily reports were pouring in from various relatives and
To have a collective opinion, a collective voice on some of the main issues facing the community. So since then, we had a memorandum with handed it over to our Prime Minister, Honorable Narendra Modi ji, to the Home Minister. We had a teleconference call with politicians in Kashmir. Muzaffar Beg from the BDP was on that conference. And
when we talk about Kashmir, many of us still recollect this couplet, Agar Firdaus Darwez Amiyast, 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 Amiyast. What kind of heaven was it?
Yeah, they used to stick posters on your walls.
We did not even realize that things were going to get that worse. Every day there's stories about these older people in the 70s and 80s dying like flies every day because of heat strokes. They just couldn't take the changing climate, they just couldn't adapt to it.
I don't think so. We were politically that much of aware, of what's going on.
One objective was to make it a 100% Islamic state. There's no question they wanted to do that, which meant driving out